I have a patient, 44 years old, works out 5 days a week, eats clean, sleeps 8 hours. He came into my office convinced something was wrong with him. Fatigue, low drive, brain fog. And the first thing he pulled out of his bag was this. He was spending $80 a month on this, had been for 3 years, and I had to sit him down and tell him the truth. This bottle, almost completely useless for what he needed. And worse, 2 of the ingredients in it were actually making his symptoms worse. I'm Dr. Lena. I'm a board-certified urologist, and today I'm going to show you exactly what's inside most men's vitamins, why the majority of them are scientifically designed to look impressive on a label, not to actually work inside your body, and what you should actually be doing instead. Stay with me, because the third ingredient I cover today is one that almost every man over 35 is taking in completely the wrong form. Let's get into it. Let me give you a number that should immediately make you suspicious. The men's supplement market is worth over $4.8 billion a year. Now, if these vitamins were genuinely transforming men's health the way the labels promise, you'd expect to see massive improvements in men's wellness data over the last 2 decades. Instead, rates of testosterone decline, erectile dysfunction, and fatigue-related complaints in men have gone up, not down. So where is all that money going? Here's what most people don't understand about how supplements are regulated, or rather, how they're not regulated. Unlike prescription medications, supplement companies in the United States do not need to prove their product works before selling it to you. They don't need FDA approval. They just need to avoid making certain direct disease claims on the label. That means a company can put 27 ingredients in a bottle, slap the words Men's Performance Formula on it, charge you $60, and never once have to prove in a clinical trial that their specific combination does anything at all. I'm not saying all supplements are useless. Far from it. What I'm saying is that the business model of most men's vitamins is to overwhelm you with ingredients so the label looks comprehensive. If it has 27 ingredients, something must be working, right? That's exactly what they're counting on. The reality is, your body can only absorb and utilize certain nutrients under certain conditions, in certain forms, at certain doses. And most of these mega blends fail on all 4 counts. Let me introduce you to what scientists and formulators call fairy dusting. This is when a supplement company includes an ingredient that has real clinical evidence behind it, but puts in such a tiny amount that it cannot possibly have the effect the research shows. But the ingredient is still on the label, still in the product, so they can still advertise it. Classic example, ashwagandha. There is genuinely good clinical evidence that ashwagandha can support testosterone levels and reduce cortisol in men. The studies that showed meaningful results used doses between 300 and 600 milligrams of a standardized root extract. I have looked at the labels of 7 of the top-selling men's vitamins on Amazon right now. 6 of them contain ashwagandha. The average dose across those 6 products? 47 milligrams. That is roughly 1/10 of the minimum effective dose. It's not doing anything, but it's on the label, it sounds impressive, and it justifies a premium price point. This happens with zinc, with magnesium, with vitamin D, with B12, ingredients that actually matter for men's hormonal health and that are chronically underdosed in multivitamin blends because packing in 25+ ingredients forces each one to be diluted. And here's the math problem nobody talks about. If you put 25 ingredients in a capsule, and that capsule holds about 800 milligrams of material, you have 32 milligrams per ingredient on average. Many effective doses require 10 to 20 times that amount. It is physically impossible to put meaningful doses of the right nutrients into a single daily capsule. The companies that genuinely care about outcomes give you fewer, better-dosed ingredients, but that's a harder sell. 3 key nutrients doesn't sound as exciting as Men's Ultra Mega Complete with 27 active compounds. Now, This is the part I mentioned at the top that I really need you to pay attention to, especially if you are over 35. Vitamins and minerals are not all created equal. The form of a nutrient, its chemical structure, determines how well your body absorbs it, and sometimes whether it does anything at all. Magnesium is the best example of this, and it is the ingredient I most commonly see causing problems in men who are already experiencing fatigue, sleep disruption, or anxiety. Here's the situation. Magnesium deficiency affects an estimated 50 to 60% of American men. It is one of the most impactful minerals for testosterone production, sleep quality, muscle recovery, and nervous system regulation. Real clinical data supports this. Magnesium matters. So men's vitamins almost universally include it. The problem is which form they include. The cheapest, most common form is magnesium oxide. It costs almost nothing to manufacture. It has extremely poor bioavailability. Studies show only about 4% is actually absorbed. And here's the real problem. What isn't absorbed gets pulled into your intestines and acts as a mild laxative. So if you've ever taken a men's multivitamin and noticed digestive discomfort, that might be why. Your body is basically flushing out 96% of the magnesium you just paid for. The forms that actually work: magnesium glycinate for sleep and nervous system support, magnesium malate for energy and muscle function. These are more expensive to manufacture, so they almost never appear in budget multivitamin blends. The same form problem applies to zinc, zinc oxide versus zinc bisglycinate. The bisglycinate form absorbs significantly better and is gentler on the stomach. Vitamin B12, cyanocobalamin versus methylcobalamin. Many people, particularly those with a common genetic variation called MTHFR, which affects roughly 40% of the population, cannot efficiently convert cyanocobalamin into the active form the body uses. Methylcobalamin is the active, ready-to-use form. Most cheap multivitamins use cyanocobalamin because it's a fraction of the cost. Vitamin D, and this one is critical for men's hormonal health. D3 is the form your body synthesizes from sunlight and uses most effectively. D2 is the cheaper plant-derived form, with meaningfully lower potency. Guess which one shows up in most grocery store men's vitamins? All right, now that I've told you what doesn't work, let me tell you, as a urologist who sees the downstream consequences of nutritional gaps every single day, what the evidence actually supports for men's health. I want to be clear, I'm not here to sell you anything. Everything I'm about to say is based on published research and what I recommend to my own patients. Number 1. Vitamin D3 with K2. The majority of men in the United States are vitamin D insufficient, meaning not technically deficient, but below the levels associated with optimal testosterone, immune function, and mood. The research on vitamin D and male hormonal health is compelling. A study published in Hormone and Metabolic Research found that men who supplemented with vitamin D for 12 months had significantly higher testosterone levels compared to placebo. The K2 pairing matters because vitamin D increases calcium absorption, and K2 directs that calcium into bones and away from arterial walls. They work together. Dose: 2,000 to 5,000 IU of D3 daily, with 100 micrograms of K2 MK7. Number 2. Magnesium glycinate. We already talked about why the form matters. Magnesium glycinate at 300 to 400 milligrams before bed is one of the simplest, most evidence-supported things a man can do for sleep quality, morning testosterone levels, and stress resilience. Testosterone is primarily produced during deep sleep. Anything that improves sleep quality is, indirectly, supporting your hormonal baseline. Number 3. Zinc bisglycinate. Zinc is directly involved in testosterone synthesis and sperm production. It's also depleted rapidly by intense exercise and by alcohol consumption. Men who are physically active or who drink regularly are at particular risk for suboptimal zinc levels. 25 to 45 milligrams of zinc bisglycinate daily is sufficient for most men, and critically, you do not want to oversupplement zinc because high doses compete with copper absorption and can create secondary deficiencies. Number 4. Omega-3 fatty acids, EPA, DHA. This isn't in men's vitamins, which is part of the problem. Fish oil is a separate product, less profitable per unit for bundled vitamin companies, and yet the evidence for omega-3s is arguably stronger than anything else on this list. Cardiovascular protection, anti-inflammatory effects, cognitive support, and emerging data on erectile function. 2 grams of combined EPA and DHA daily from a high-quality, molecularly distilled fish oil. Triglyceride form absorbs significantly better than ethyl ester form. Look for that on the label. Number 5. And this is specific to my specialty. If you are a man over 40 and you are experiencing any urinary symptoms, fatigue, or changes in libido, before you buy another supplement, get your labs drawn. Specifically, total and free testosterone, SHBG, PSA, complete metabolic panel, and a vitamin D level. I have patients who have been taking testosterone support supplements for years when the actual issue was a reversible thyroid condition, or iron deficiency, or prediabetes. No supplement fixes those things. Targeted treatment does. When you're standing in the supplement aisle or scrolling Amazon, here is my quick 3-step filter. Step 1. Count the ingredients. If a men's vitamin has more than 10 to 12 active ingredients, I'm immediately skeptical. More ingredients almost always means lower doses of each. I'd rather have 5 well-dosed ingredients than 25 fairy-dusted ones. Step 2. Check the forms. Look for magnesium glycinate or malate, not oxide. B12 as methylcobalamin, not cyanocobalamin. Zinc as bisglycinate or citrate, not oxide. Vitamin D as D3, not D2. If a company uses the high-quality forms, they'll usually call it out prominently because it's a selling point. If the label just says magnesium without specifying the form, that's a red flag. Step 3. Look for third-party testing. USP verified, NSF certified for sport, or informed sport certification. These mean an independent lab has verified that what's on the label is actually in the bottle, at the stated dose. This matters more than most people realize, because studies have found that a significant percentage of supplements contain less, or sometimes more, of an ingredient than the label states. Here's the bottom line from someone who has spent over a decade helping men optimize their health from the inside out. The supplement industry profits most when you feel like you need to take everything. The science says something very different. It says find what you're actually deficient in, supplement with the right forms at the right doses, and stop wasting money on ingredients your body can't use. The 3 things I would tell any male patient to do today. 1. Get your labs done. Know your baseline before you buy anything. 2. If you're going to supplement, prioritize D3 class K2, magnesium glycinate, omega-3s, and zinc in quality forms at effective doses, separately, not in a $15 Costco blend. 3. Be suspicious of any supplement that promises to fix everything. That is a marketing promise, not a medical one. If this video gave you something useful, share it with the man in your life who's still spending money on that giant jug of men's ultra performance formula. You might save him a few $100s a year, and maybe get him asking the right questions. I put out videos like this every week. Real clinical information, no fluff, no sponsored bias. Subscribe if that's what you're looking for. I'll see you in the next one.